Alright guys, so in today's video we're going to be going over my number one thing, and it's probably going to be the only thing that you're going to need, that I use every day, every time I feel fear. Not every day, but every time I feel fear, right? So for myself, I'm a martial artist, and back in the day when I would go to performances, I would have fear. I would be in front of a big audience, a gym packed full of people, and it was just little old me, fear. Oh. So how did I overcome it? Well, in this video, I'm going to describe a little bit in detail the science behind our emotions, as well as get a little bit into, describing how things work. That way we can jump into the step-by-step process of how you can overcome fear. So you're probably wondering why I was just eating on camera, and that's because I have a fear of eating on camera. And so in order to overcome that fear, I decided to break my idea of what it was and actually do it. So right now, I'm going to describe to you guys what fear is and how to overcome it. Alright guys, so first I want to describe where fear comes from. And to really understand that, we have to go back to the evolution of the brain. First brain we have is the reptilian brain, which is basically the back of our brain, which is the hind brain, and the brainstem going into the spinal cord and interacting with our nervous system, the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. Now, this is called the reptilian brain. It's called the reptilian brain because it's the first brain that was developed in our evolution as human beings. The second brain we have is called the mammalian brain. Now, the mammalian brain deals with primarily mammals, and as I go with this, you'll probably understand what these things already mean before I describe what they mean. So, the last brain you have is the neocortex. So I guess we can do this, right? It's the neocortex. So you have neocortex, which means new brain. You have mammalian brain. Then you have the reptilian. The reptilian brain deals with reptile-like actions of the body. I'll go ahead and put that reptile, mammal, neocortex. So what we're trying to do here is understand, where does fear come from and where does emotions come from. We're trying to understand, where do fears come from and where do emotions come from. That way we can overcome them. So the first step in our self-development process is to figure out, where is the fear coming from. Fear is described as false evidence appearing as real, or false evidence appearing as reality. There's two kind of emotions. You have love, which is the highest emotion, and you have fear. Well, in order to do anything in this life, in order to manifest, you must use one of two one of two emotions, love or fear. Love or fear, one of these emotions, causes us to act and react and behave in this world. So if you refer back to the other video when I talked about the process of manifestation and how things come about through thoughts, emotions, and actions or behavior, fear or love, these two emotions are part of what makes us human. So, therefore, each of those emotions comes from a thought, right? A thought produces emotion, which causes us to act. So, whenever we think of things, or when we think of ourselves, and we feel fear, this fear, it's mainly coming from this reptilian part of ourselves. This reptilian part of ourselves causes us to act and react according to our environment. So anytime you feel fear, most people get jittery, their heart rate starts beating. So we can understand this reptilian part of the body, breath, heart, and the body. Mainly deals with actions, behavior. Fear and love come in when you get to the neocortex, but this reptilian part of our body deals with fear, or deals with fight and flight. Fight or flight. Either you're going to fight or you're going to run away, right? That's the first primal instinct that we have on this planet, is fight or flight. Now, as we go up in the brain, as we go up a little bit in evolution, using our breath, our heart, and our actions, we get into the mammalian brain. Now, this part of the brain deals with more of the emotions. It's more of the emotive part of the body, which allows us to act and react according to our environment, but it allows us to process things as well. And it allows us to feel more of our environment, and more so we don't have to run away from things, right? So we can understand things, but we still do have that fight or flight. You can understand the mammalian brain in mammals. They have a mammalian brain, and you can tell that they're much more intelligent than a reptile who just eats, sleeps, has sex, and then fight and flights, right? That's all it does. Now, that's primal instinct. So when we go beyond the primal instinct, then we reach the mammalian brain, which is more emotion, more feeling, more empathy, more cultivation of the compassion, right? And when we do this, we enter in the neocortex, which is the human brain, right? Human beings have a neocortex, and it's this part of the brain. It's more of the top part of the brain, and it deals with higher thoughts, higher thinking, creativity, learning, imagination, religion, science, mathematics. That's part of the human brain. That's what makes us human, right? So, when it comes to love and fear, when you have fear, right? Fear is the highest emotion of the reptilian part of the body, or the primal acting part of the body. When you overcome fear, you reach this higher level of what? Love. How do you overcome fear? And what does love give you? Well, when you have love, when you overcome this fear, when you overcome the reptilian part of yourself, then you enter into the mammalian part of yourself, which which is feeling. The highest feeling of the mammalian part of yourself is love, self-love. When you have self-love, then you access the higher part of yourself, which is what people would term enlightenment or self-awareness, full self-awareness and the awareness of abundance and prosperity that you are, which is the divine force that is flowing in and through you and throughout all of your life. So when we go beyond the fear, right? When we go beyond the fear, we enter into the higher frequency of love, or we can use the higher frequency of love when we balance the heart, the breath, and the body. We can access our higher consciousness through this feeling of love. And our higher consciousness allows us to act and react purposefully, act and react without this here getting in the way. Because we all know when this shit gets in the way, it doesn't allow us to access that which we are trying to access. So when we destroy our fear, when we overcome our reptilian brain, we can ultimately access the higher probability and the higher possibilities that we are capable of doing. If you can't overcome your fear, then you will be stuck in the matrix of the lower self, the matrix of the lower physical self. So, how do we overcome fear? What's the actual process of overcoming fear? What's the actual process, the step-by-step thing that one can do when they are confronted with fear at any moment in their lives? All right. So with this understanding, go ahead and erase this. Right, so we have fear. We have love. These are both emotions. In order to overcome the fear, we need more love. Therefore, the practice that I'm going to share with you now involves controlling the breath, the body, and the mind, or your thoughts. Now, in order to do this, we need to focus our mind on a specific point. We need to take control of our breath, and we need to put our body in a certain position, take control of the body. Without taking control of the mind, the breath, and the body, we cannot without taking control of the mind, the breath, and the body, we cannot take control of our lives. We cannot change our lives, right? And it isn't until we take control of the mind, the breath, and the body that we start to control our lives or take control of ourselves. So, the mind, the breath, and the body are all what controls this system here. The mammalian brain, the neocortex, and the reptilian. So in order to go beyond fear, you need to control your mind, breath, and your body. In order to do this, now, what I want you to do is close your eyes, focus your mind, focus your eyes on this part of your head, breathe in deeply, now as you focus on this part of your head, what I want you to do is think of the word or the phrase love. That's it. That's all. Just think of the phrase love and repeat it to yourself over and over and over again. Love, 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 love. But instead of saying it out loud, say it internally. And every time, take a deep breath and you feel the feeling of love. As you say the word love, you feel this feeling. And as you feel this feeling, you can notice how you can increase this feeling the more you take control of your breath. Now, the more you do this over and over and over again, right in that moment, the more you are able to take control of this feeling of fear and access the higher self of love and abundance and prosperity. Now, to take this a little bit further, something that they will not tell you is when you enter into that state, what I want you to do is go into it in its most ultimate, fulfilling spot within you. And then squeeze your fists as tight as you can. Let it go and relax. And just sit with it and feel the feeling of what it feels like to be wonderful and to overcome the fear now. Alright guys, so now towards the end of the video, what I just showed you guys was a trigger. So anytime you guys feel fear, right, something that we're overcoming, squeeze your fists and feel the feeling of abundance. What I just showed you was a trigger, and you can use this trigger in order to bring up those feelings of abundance anytime that you feel unworthy, or that you feel depressed, or that you feel anxiety, or that you feel worry, or that you feel stress and fear. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.